to come in and see if you can give me some assistance.
And Chair, Chair, just so everyone's aware of what I've tabled, is the Angel flight request documentation. It has a fact sheet in there.
Happy to table.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Has a fact sheet in there, instructions, there is a guidelines for referrers, medical clearances, passenger guidelines, waivers and release of liability, and I'm informed, and I have no reason to doubt this, that before you can jump on one of these flights as a person seeking to fly to Adelaide to have chemo, you've also have to have watched a video that takes you through the process and talks you through the risks of what it is that you're getting into. And so the duty of care thing is in some sense negated by the fact that you've got someone who's had to sign up to a waiver, they've read through the fact, they've watched a video, they're kind of going in with eyes open.
Senator, the document, what the document doesn't say is that in Angel Flight's case, for example, according to our statistics, there's a significantly higher risk of accident or incident flying with Angel Flight.
I'm going to ask you
privately.
to ask you to table evidence that grounds that statement. I can't.
Senator, I'm going to say we have done our calculations that lead us to that conclusion. But if I may, I'd ask that you. That I'm not sure that even though we've done our work, that everybody will agree with it. I'm quite happy to table it, or quite happy to do it on notice. But I'd ask that you also take notice of the ATSB's work, because they will have done much more definitive work on this risk as part of their analysis. I don't have the benefit of the draft report for the Mount Gambier flight. Well, the only thing that I would say, Senator, is I've not read anything thus far which would make me change my opinion. If I can put it that way. I can't say any more. Well,
I understand that. Actually, protected by privilege, but I won't press the issue. But so that therein lies my problem, and the Chair's sort of picked up on it, is that if you then start to impose additional rules, and I don't have a problem with the hours, because actually they all have that anyway, so it doesn't act to deter. But we may have a situation, you've got a person who is qualified to fly night VFR, they can fly Rex Patrick, when he's contributing partly to the fees, who hasn't signed a waiver, hasn't looked at any of this stuff, but kind of likes the person who's flying them. I've had a few drinks with them from a few weeks ago or something. You've got a person who probably needs the flight more than what I do, and has signed a waiver, goes and fully open the same flight, same aircraft, same qualifications, and there's now a risk that a pilot who is night VFR qualified flies into Adelaide, is going to get delayed. That's additional cost to him or her, and for no apparent safety reason from their perspective. I mean, I'm sure a pilot would not fly if they didn't feel like it was safe. But can you see my point?
I see your point. I'll ask my colleague to address it if I may, Senator.
Chris Monahan, Executive Manager for National Ops and Standards, CASA. I'd like to kind of refine the question. The night VFR, as far as I know, there's no community service flight organization that allows night VFR right now in country. But the opportunity is, in the case of night VFR, you have the ability to fly a qualified aircraft and a qualified pilot into a regime where you're no longer qualified by losing discernible horizon at night. If you're an IFR aircraft and an IFR pilot, then you're, in theory, able to manage all the weather, so you're fully qualified through the entire part of the flight. So if you lose discernible horizon, you're supposed to basically come back to a place where you can fly night VFR. To the discussion of why you can fly with him but you can't fly, because we can't guarantee you're going to be matched up with somebody you know. So the system is very big and broad.
But knowing someone is not a test.
Excuse me?
Knowing Senator Brockman, I think he's a fine chap. I did a flight around the Condamine just recently, and I turned up and I just jokingly said to the pilot, are you a student pilot or not? Just as my own safety check. And he said, look, no, I'm a commercial pilot. But he looked like he was 18. What made me get on that flight was, on face value, I've accepted his statement he's a commercial pilot, was that I know CASA won't give him a licence until he's reached a particular standard.
I understand that, but the unique nature and the
I
additional
didn't know the pilot at all. And if we're at a friend of mine, I'd say, have you got a licence? Senator Brockman just said no, so that actually stops the whole thing.
Hope so.
But had he said, yeah, I've got a licence and I've got, I'd probably ask him how many hours he's got. He says he's got 250 hours. I'd go, okay, well, let's do it. Now that's a less of a check than what's required for, or less. I'm less informed than what someone who might jump on an Angel flight would be.
Well, we've actually seen the Angel flight documentation because we have it, but it's and we have a slightly different view then, because our view is that even through that you don't really have necessarily a meaningful understanding of the risks. You don't know statistically that it's 4 or 5 times less safe to fly with Angel flight than it is to fly with your mate.
I think you need to ground that.
I'm sure that will,
statement.
but I'm confident that will. They've had 2 fatal accidents, in the last 10 years, gone over 10 years. They've had a number of other accidents. They had a wheels up 2 weeks ago, if you recall, in Wagga, and they've had a number of other incidents. So statistically, our numbers show that they are less safe. That doesn't quite come through in the documentation. There is stuff about risk. I haven't seen the video. My colleagues might have, but it's a meaningful understanding of what the risk is.
Yeah, and I know we've had a previous discussion about this, Mr. Carmody, but you take one of those incidents out of the mix, and it potentially Angel flights would, community service flights would be safer.
Senator, I can't take the incident out of the mix because it happened. It's like me taking Lion Air crash out of the mix.
Statistics. You've got to look at statistical significance as well.
I understand the point you're making, Senator, but I suppose the point that I'm making is that the accident did happen. We look at statistics across all sectors of the industry. I look at statistics for aerial agricultural flights and how effective they are, and the numbers aren't great, but the numbers are there. We look at all statistics, and Angel flight has had those 2 accidents, and we put it over. We run over 10 years, not over the last 6. I think that if you just counted the 2 outliers, it'd actually be higher. I'm not a good statistician, but I think the numbers would be higher. But the point is the events did occur, and as I said, we could be having a discussion about international low-cost carriers, and we could exclude Lion Air from 3 months ago. I mean, the numbers are there. The events have occurred, and the statistics show what they show, and what they show us is that there are more incidents in that space now. Should I take those incidents out? I don't know. I wouldn't take them out statistically. One of the points in this the instrument that I signed a few weeks ago is to make sure that all community service flights are in future declared as such, because at the moment they are not. They prefer to just categorise themselves as private flights, so no one knows really what the statistics are. But we've done our own analysis on the flights, and we've come up with a higher number. And if I understand it correctly, part of the investigation from the Australian Transport Safety Bureau was to get information from Angel Flight. So they did their own numbers.
So when are those statistics going to be available?
Well, once the Australian Transport Safety Bureau completes its report, which I assume, I can't speak to them, but I would say 6 weeks or so, is normally about the time. 6 to 8 weeks is normally about the time when they go out into the final consultation phase with families and interested parties. It's checking detail and then it's finalising. So they are not that far away, is my point.